I wouldn't be surprised if every single unpaid care in Shetland has a legal case towards Shetland Islands Council. And I refuse to blame people whose fault it isn't, which is the people on the ground trying to provide support to people like me and my autistic children. So, risk management. Let's read the plan. Shetland Joint Integration Board Action Plan, unsupported unpaid cares, strengthening the care system. The Shetland Joint Integration Board must take urgent action to address the pressing issues facing unpaid cares in this region. This plan outlines a comprehensive approach to ensuring better support for unpaid carers, improving risk management, strengthening communication, providing essential resources, training to prevent care burnout and system failures. Right? Our objective, to improve the well-being and sustainability of unpaid carers in Shetland by addressing the systemic failures. Not gaslighting people, not pretending they didn't happen, by addressing the systemic failures. That's what I'm here to do, to help you follow the law and even reach towards best practice. I'm an expert in what that is, and I can help you deliver it if you work with me. And if you don't work with me, then I have to work with the care inspectorate. So don't force me to do that. Identifying the risks, such as carers exhaustion, the emotional toll of feeling unsupported, this should have been a priority. It's a plan to support unpaid cares and strengthen the care system. The Shetland Neurodiversity Project was created because of the systemic failures within the Shetland Islands Council. Well, I'm breaking down the bureaucracy. Those of you who are responsible for the budget need to know how your decisions destroy lives. It can maybe help people get their needs met if someone on the team can actually speak from what it's like to be an unpaid care and to care for every moment that you're awake, including the moments you're meant to be sleeping. Because nobody on the board knows what that is like. Number 9, effective use of resources. Outcome number 9 is about using resources effectively. By including unpaid carers in the risk management team, services can be designed to meet the real needs of carers for those they care for, ensuring that the resources are allocated effectively and efficiently. When unpaid carers are supported, they can save the council tens of thousands of pounds every year, each carer. When they're not supported, the person they care for has to go into residential care, and Shetland Islands Council will have to pay for their care 24 hours a day. By supporting unpaid carers so they don't break down, so they can continue to work every waking moment in care, unpaid, Shetland Islands Council can save money by making sure they can continue. Unpaid carers have a unique perspective that they bring, and that can help professionals understand the needs of the families that they're trying to support. No annual leave, no weekend, no 8 hours sleep, just caring. If services don't have enough money, we need to find a way to fix it. I intend to do that through the third sector. To understand how risk management plays out in real life, consider the case of an unpaid carer in Shetland who was responsible for 2 autistic children while dealing with her own chronic illness. This carer was dedicating 20 hours each day to her children's care, leaving little time for rest or self-care. caring for every hour, including the ones when you should be sleeping. Despite the tremendous pressure she was under, timely help was not provided, putting her and her children at risk. And then she felt blamed, as if it was her fault that she could not continue to care for 20 hours a day. In this situation, the unpaid care experienced what many people fear, a failure in the system that's meant to support them. Even though risk management is supposed to identify people like her in urgent need of help, this unpaid care felt overlooked and unsupported by Shetland Islands Council. This is because there's not enough resources to provide emergency respite care for people like her who's caring for 20 hours a day. Caring for 20 hours a day is known as an unsustainable caring situation, and the CARES Act Scotland is supposed to protect unpaid carers from caring 20 hours a day, whether or not they had a chronic illness. The autistic child was put into residential care, costing Shetland Islands Council a huge amount of money. And it was avoidable if effective respite care and support was available, and emergency support and care was avoidable. There's not an effective system of respite to stop people from going into breakdowns. And when people do go into breakdowns, there's no emergency system for them to have an emergency break of a few days to recover. This cost Shetland Islands Council a lot of money in this case study. And that's just one person. Instead of acknowledging her need for assistance, she was made to feel as though her concerns were exaggerated or even unfounded. This led to a breakdown in trust, which is another major risk in health and social care settings. Risk management is supposed to prevent situations like this. If the system were working as it should, social workers and health professionals would have recognized the carer's need for support early on and acted quickly to provide respite care, advice, or other resources, than allowing the carer to break down. Managing these risks would involve a swift response, clear communication, ensuring that the carer felt heard and understood. This case shows that even with good policies in place, risk management can fail when these policies don't have the money to back them. Or when communication breaks down between carers and social services. If services don't have enough money, we need to find a way to fix it. I intend to do that through the third sector. The Shetland Islands Council has a duty to ensure that unpaid carers like this woman receive the help they need without having to fight for it or without feeling dismissed. A system where the person who shouts loud enough gets help is broken. The Shetland Islands Council has a duty to ensure that unpaid carers like this woman receive the help they need without having to fight for it or without feeling dismissed. A system where the person who shouts loud enough gets help is broken. Effective risk management means being proactive, listening to carers' concerns, ensuring that services are accessible and responsive, ensuring that services have enough money. If services don't have enough money, we need to find a way to fix it. I intend to do that through the third sector because I can't see any way to get help from Shetland Islands Council. That comes from my 14 years of experience of being in unpaid care and trying to get help from the Shetland Islands Council. My lived experience, my every waking hour caring. No annual leave, no weekend, no 8 hours sleep, just caring. Don't take my years and years of experience away from me. I'm an expert in my field. I lecture about autism and best practice. I train professionals about best practice. In the future, the Council should strengthen its risk management strategies by improving communications with CARES, training social workers to be more empathetic and responsive, creating more flexible support systems, and having money available for social workers to do what they need to do. Unpaid carers are the backbone of the care system, and their well-being must be treated as top priority, or Shetland Islands Council will have to pay lots and lots of money for paid carers to fill in. By taking these steps, the Shetland Islands Council can better protect the health and happiness of both unpaid carers and the people they care for, making sure that everyone receives the support they deserve. That's a rough draft. When they're not supported, the person they care for has to go into residential care, and Shetland Island Council will have to pay for their care 24 hours a day. By supporting unpaid carers so they don't break down, so they can continue to work every waking moment in care, unpaid, Shetland Island Council can save money. If services don't have enough money, we need to find a way to fix it. I intend to do that through the third sector. The Shetland Islands Council has a duty to ensure that unpaid carers like this woman receive the help they need without having to fight for it or without feeling dismissed. A system where the person who shouts loud enough gets help is broken, because I can't see any way to get help from Shetland Islands Council. That comes from my 14 years of experience of being in unpaid care and trying to get help from the Shetland Islands Council. My lived experience, my every waking hour caring. Either you're ignorant or you're gaslighting us. Now, which is it? Ensure carers receive regular and emergency care, as the Care Act demands you. It's a law you must follow. It's not optional. Stop gaslighting carers. Conduct a resource review. Increase budget allocations for respite care immediately, or you will continue to break the law. You cannot break the law. It's not an option. The CARES Act is not an option. Develop a more flexible system that allows carers to book respite care when they need it, particularly in cases of emergencies and unexpected breakdowns. Partnership with the third sector. Timeline, 6 months. You have 6 months to fix this. You have to implement something new. You cannot continue to just break the law. The outcomes are a reduction in care burnout, fewer instances of crises and institutionalizations, and a more sustainable care environment for both carers and those receiving care. And if you don't care about that, you will save money by investing in your unpaid care workforce. Otherwise, they will burn out and you will have to pay people to care for those people. If you don't care about following the law or our well-being, at least think about the budget. You will save money if you do this properly. Every single unpaid care saves the council tens of thousands of pounds every year. So stop neglecting us. Stop neglecting your free workforce. Invest a little bit and you get a lot back. If you don't understand that, I'm disgusted with you. Number 4, strengthen communication channels. Improve communication between cares and social services to ensure concerns are addressed properly and effectively. That means no more gaslighting. Gaslighting is abusive, and it's a tactic that's been used on me repeatedly. Repeatedly, I'm asked to go into meetings so things can be said off the record. I need everything in writing because I cannot trust a word that comes out the mouth of anybody. I have to have it in writing because of my experience over a decade of being continually gaslit. By integrating unpaid carers into decision-making processes, the council can ensure that resources are allocated efficiently and directed towards preventing crises before they occur. One of the core goals of health and social care systems is to enable individuals with disabilities such as autism to live independently at home with their families or their own homes. This aligns with outcome number 2, which focuses on keeping people in their communities and avoiding unnecessary institutionalization. Improved risk management. Really important. You need a risk management protocol that actually works. Develop standardized protocols for early detection of care burnout. Don't wait for a carer to say, I'm burning out. Most carers won't say anything until it's too late. You need to assess people and keep them working for free. If you don't care about our well-being, just think about the bottom line. It costs you more money when we burn out. Invest in us. Invest in your unpaid workforce so that we can continue to work for you for free. Or you're going to have to pay for 24-hour care. If you don't care about following the law, if you don't care about our well-being, at least look at the money. You will save money. Why don't you understand this? Conflict resolution mechanisms. There needs to be a mechanism to address conflicts of interest between carers and social workers. So social workers feel safe and not bullied, not gaslit, not frightened. Abuse of power is real, and there needs to be a mechanism for people to report it. So there needs to be some kind of conflict resolution office out with Hayfield House, so you don't have to deal with cronyism and people trying to cover up each other's bad deeds. You need clear reporting pathways that implement a transparent system. There's a serious lack of transparency, and it's disgusting. Shetland Neurodiversity Project is going to demand best practice from now on for all unpaid carers, because it's the law and you're breaking it, and you shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. You're destroying people's lives. You have a responsibility to us, and you're failing. You have to work with the Shetland Neurodiversity Project, or you will never get on board. You have to. You have to work with the experts who know. I'm an expert in my field, and I train professionals. Unfortunately, not from your council, because I can't see any way to get help from Shetland Islands Council. That comes from my 14 years of experience of being an unpaid care and trying to get help from the Shetland Islands Council. My lived experience, my every waking hour caring. No annual leave, no weekend, no 8 hours sleep, just caring. If services don't have enough money, we need to find a way to fix it. I intend to do that through the third sector. The Shetland Islands Council has a duty to ensure that unpaid carers like this woman receive the help they need without having to fight for it or without feeling dismissed. A system where the person who shouts loud enough gets help is broken. Outcome number 9 is about using resources effectively. By including unpaid carers in the risk management team, services can be designed to meet the real needs of carers for those they care for, ensuring that the resources are allocated effectively and efficiently. When unpaid carers are supported, they can save the council tens of thousands of pounds every year, each carer, because I can't see any way to get help from Shetland Islands Council. The Shetland Islands Council has a duty to ensure that unpaid carers like this woman receive the help they need without having to fight for it or without feeling dismissed. A system where the person who shouts loud enough gets help is broken because I can't see any way to get help from Shetland Islands Council. That comes from my 14 years of experience of being an unpaid care and trying to get help from the Shetland Islands Council. My lived experience, my every waking hour caring. No annual leave, no weekend, no 8 hours sleep, just caring. Without having to fight for it or without feeling dismissed. A system where the person who shouts loud enough gets help is broken. Effective risk management means being proactive, listening to carers' concerns, ensuring that services are accessible and responsive, ensuring that services have enough money. If services don't have enough money, we need to find a way to fix it. I intend to do that through the third sector because I can't see any way to get help from Shetland Islands Council. Having unpaid carers on the risk management team can significantly improve the support system for carers, ensuring they receive timely help and proper care. Their involvement can be directly tied to achieving the national health and well-being outcome by offering real-life insights into the challenges they face. Here's how this connection works. Emphasizing that people should be able to look after their own health and well-being. That's outcome 1. By including unpaid carers in risk assessment, we can ensure systems are designed to support carers in balancing their responsibilities and their personal health. For instance, a carer managing 20 hours of care each day for children with autism might identify early on when they are at risk of burnout. Ensuring the system responds quickly to that, providing respite care and other support. This way, carers can continue to care for others without sacrificing their own health. The Shetland Islands Council has a responsibility to carefully manage risks for everyone who relies on their health and social care services. The goal is to use my story to secure more money for Shetland by the third sector. The system doesn't have enough money to provide best practice, and that's not the fault of anybody on the floor that's trying really hard to provide a good service. They need more money. The CARES Act is a law that they have to follow, but they don't have enough money to really do best practice and make sure they follow it. In the SIC's plans for the joint board, it says they're supposed to listen to people like me and my expertise as an unpaid carer who's basically dedicated 14 years of every waking moment to caring. But they don't. And that's probably because of bureaucracy and not because they're bad people or anything. I think it's just bureaucracy. There's so much between me and them. And if I go through complaints procedures, then the good people that's trying to help me can get blamed for what's not their fault. The fault is there's not enough money. I'm a very logical person. Please, we can work together and change this. Let's be clear, this is not optional. You cannot continue to break the law. You cannot continue to neglect your unpaid cares. You cannot continue to gaslight us. The Shetland Neurodiversity Project is here to make sure that you follow the CARES Act and strive for best practice, because we are done shouting and begging for basic rights that should have been honored in the first place. And we are done being gaslit. We will not stop until you change. It's not an opinion, it's the law. And in fact, let's not just follow the law, let's reach towards best practice, which you've never been able to achieve for me and my family, ever. All right. This is the email I'm sending. It's my report, one of my reports for the committee. I'll just read through before I send it. This report seeks to address the critical issues faced by unpaid carers in the Shetland Islands, focusing on systemic failures in providing adequate support and recognizing the importance of proper risk management. Drawing on real-world experiences, particularly a case study of a long-term carer responsible for 2 autistic children. This report highlights the power imbalances, lack of resources, and miscommunication between carers and local services. It also advocates for a more informed, collaborative, and effective approach to supporting carers. Expertise and knowledge gaps in local services. The issue of expertise or lack thereof among professionals in the Council's local services has a profound impact on how carers and those with neurodivergent conditions such as autism are treated. Despite the expectation that professionals should be better educated and more informed, there are cases where they fail to differentiate between mental health conditions and neurodiversity. That is to say, they use the social model of disability. They need to be using the social model, not the medical model. When professionals in positions of power are less educated on critical issues such as autism and care needs, the system becomes not only ineffective but also harmful. The result is a power imbalance that is frightening for unpaid carers who depend on these services for support. Addressing this imbalance requires a fundamental shift in how knowledge is generated, shared, and applied within these services. Systemic failures in risk management. The case study demonstrates a breakdown in the local council's risk management approach. Donna Schofield, a carer with 14 years of unpaid care experience, highlights the lack of adequate respite care, emergency support, and timely interventions for those caring for individuals with disabilities or chronic illnesses. This situation has led to her caring for her children for 20 hours a day, an unsustainable amount of time, which ultimately resulted in her breakdown. The CARES Act was established to protect unpaid carers from this exact situation. It sets forth provisions to ensure that carers receive the necessary support and respite, particularly in cases where care demands are excessive. However, despite these legal protections, the system failed Donna, leaving her unsupported until her condition worsened and she had to beg for support. A lack of effective communication and response from social services led to her feeling dismissed and invalidated. As a result, a preventable crisis escalated to the point where her autistic child required residential care incurring significant costs to the Shetland Islands Council. The failure to intervene earlier demonstrates how inadequate risk management can result in higher financial costs for the council, alongside severe emotional trauma on carers and those they care for. Addressing financial and ethical considerations. Supporting unpaid carers is not just a moral obligation, it's a financial imperative for the council. Each unpaid care saves the Shetland Islands Council tens of thousands of pounds annually by providing care that would otherwise need to be covered by paid services. However, when unpaid carers are left unsupported and experience breakdowns, the financial burden is on the council. The financial burden on the council increases significantly as institutionalized care becomes necessary. A little bit of support that allows an unpaid carer to continue to care for free saves the council a lot of money. This case underscores the necessity of rethinking how resources are allocated. Care should be included in risk management planning, allowing services to be designed around their real lived experiences. Outcome number 9 in the strategic framework for supporting carers emphasizes the importance of using resources effectively. Written by the Shetland Neurodiversity Project. It's about supporting unpaid carers and strengthening the care systems, because Shetland Neurodiversity Project was created to address the systemic failures within Shetland Islands Council in providing support to unpaid carers. And the situation has been, and this comes from my 14 years of caring every waking hour for autism. Unpaid care, okay? The only way that you can get help is by shouting and shouting and shouting for help. And sometimes that doesn't even work, like my case study shows. Although we'll not get into that right now. Specifically towards unpaid carers like me and the disabled people we're caring for. Behind the scenes, it appears that most areas don't have even agreed upon a person-centric outcome for success measures. In the papers, it literally says asset-based. And then it tries to say that asset-based is person-centered, which is incorrect. Get it right. So, let me share some context. I've spent 14 years providing unpaid care for my children with autism, dedicating every waking hour to their needs. In my experience, the only way to get help from the Shetland Islands Council is by shouting over and over again. And even then, sometimes nothing happens. My own story is the proof of that, but that's not what I'm focused on here today. We're going over the manifesto. Let's go through the plan. The Shetland Joint Integration Board Action Plan, created by Shetland Neurodiversity Project. This plan calls for urgent action to address the many issues unpaid carers are facing in Shetland. It outlines a comprehensive approach, improving risk management, strengthening communications, and providing essential resources and training to prevent care burnout and system failures. Our goal is simple: improve the well-being and sustainability of unpaid carers by addressing the systemic failures, not gaslighting people and not pretending this problem doesn't exist. Here's the key objectives and actions. Number 1, enhance training for professionals. Number 2, incorporating lived experience into training. You must engage in unpaid carers like me in the training process because we are the experts. How dare you think you know more about our responsibilities than we do? Our experiences are invaluable and we are experts, and you need us at the heart of your training programs. Number 3, increase funding for respite care. Carers must have regular and emergency access to respite care. There needs to be a system in place where the carer says, I need help now, and that help is available. Right now, that doesn't exist. And you're breaking the CARES Act. Despite the fact it's a requirement under the law, it's impossible to get help. If you can't provide respite, then you're breaking the law. It's not acceptable. You cannot keep pretending this is not happening. Number 4, strengthen communication channels. Communication between carers and social services must improve. You cannot continue to gaslight carers. I have been gaslit repeatedly, and I refuse to tolerate it any longer. It's insulting. There needs to be transparency, accountability, and respect for unpaid carers, who are the backbone of your service. Every single unpaid carer is saving the Shetland Islands Council tens of thousands of pounds each year. Treat us with respect. 5, improve risk management. You need proper risk management in the system to identify when carers are at risk of burnout. Do not wait for people to beg and scream for help. Don't wait till it's too late. I've had to fight for every step, and it's unacceptable. Most carers won't say anything until they're at the point of collapse. And you need to keep people working, not just for their sake, not just for the disabled person's sake, but for the council as well. If unpaid carers burn out, you have to pay lots of money for 24-hour care. Do you understand that? Number 6, conflict resolution mechanisms. There needs to be transparent and effective mechanisms to resolve conflicts between carers and social workers. Carers should not be bullied, gaslit, or ignored. There needs to be an independent office that handles complaints outside the usual channels because of cronyism and people trying to cover up each other's mistakes. It's a broken system. It's wrong. It's a system that protects itself rather than the people it's meant to serve. And that's disgusting. This plan has clear timelines and outcomes, and you have 6 months to implement these changes. I don't want to go to the care inspectorate, but if you can't engage with the Shetland Neurodiversity Project and acknowledge your failures, then I have to go to them because you're forcing me to. Okay? I want to work with the Shetland Islands Council to help them actually follow the law. Shetland Islands Council should not gaslight neurodivergent people or their carers. It's abusive behavior and it's wrong. There's a lot of people that's neurodivergent that are not as verbal as me. And they should not be pushed to the back of the queue just because they're not as verbal as me. How dare you? What a disgusting system. I digress. Unpaid carers are the key that enables this goal. However, without proper support, they cannot sustain the level of care required to keep individuals with disabilities living independently. Caring for 20 hours a day is illegal, according to the CARES Act. This care should have been supported to at least be able to get some kind of break, to recover. This care should not have been just left to break down and then blamed for not being able to care for 20 hours a day. The Integration Board and the Shetland Islands Council must recognize the crucial role of unpaid carers and involve them in planning services. By doing so, they can better understand how to provide timely assistance and avoid costly outcomes such as this. Proper investment in respite care and emergency relief will prevent situations like this case study, where the carer was overwhelmed and the child was placed into residential care so she could recover, costing the council a significant amount of money. Unpaid carers save Shetland Islands Council tens of thousands of pounds each. A little investment to allow them to continue to work for free saves the council a significant amount of money. If the council does not care about following the law, at least they should care about the money that is saved by supporting unpaid carers rather than letting them break down. Supporting cares through the third sector. Now that's where I come in. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to fill the gap because I know there's not enough money. And I think my story proves the systemic failures. And with my story, I think I can raise a lot of money through the third sector because it proves Shetland Islands Council cannot even follow the law. That's how bad things are. Given the ongoing financial constraints faced by Shetland Islands Council, it's essential to explore additional avenues for supporting unpaid carers. The third sector, including nonprofit charities, organizations that can fill in the gaps left by public services. By partnering with these organizations, the Council can provide more comprehensive support for carers, ensuring that they do not face these challenges alone, and ensuring that the Council does not break the law. Here's my recommendations for improvement. To address the systemic issues outlined in this report, the following recommendations are proposed. 1. Enhance training for professionals. 2. Incorporate carers in planning. 3. Increased funding for respite care. 4. Strengthen communication channels. 5. Leverage the third sector. Conclusion. Unpaid carers are the backbone of the care system in Shetland, but their well-being is often overlooked. The case study presented in this report demonstrates the real-life consequences of inadequate support, poor risk management, and power imbalances existing within Shetland Islands Council. By making the necessary changes to training, resource allocation, and service design, the Shetland Islands Council can better protect the health and well-being of unpaid carers, save money, and protect themselves from being sued for breaking the CARES Act. Thank you. That comes from my 14 years of experience of being an unpaid care and trying to get help from the Shetland Islands Council. My lived experience, my every waking hour caring. No annual leave, no weekend, no 8 hours sleep, just caring. Don't take my years and years of experience away from me. I'm an expert in my field. I lecture about autism and best practice. I train professionals about best practice. In the future, the Council should strengthen its risk management strategies by improving communications with carers, training social workers to be more empathetic and responsive, creating more flexible support systems, and having money available for social workers to do what they need to do. Unpaid carers are the backbone of the care system, and their well-being must be treated as top priority, or Shetland Islands Council will have to pay lots and lots of money for paid carers to fill in. By taking these steps, the Shetland Islands Council can better protect the health and happiness of both unpaid carers and the people they care for, making sure that everyone receives the support they deserve. That's a rough draft. Outcome number 4 focuses on improving the quality of life for people who use health and social care services. Unpaid carers are on the front line of this effort. Their involvement in risk management helps ensure that services remain focused on improving quality of life, both for those that care and for the people they're caring for. When unpaid carers are part of the conversation, The solutions developed are far more likely to be effective in real-world settings. How can bureaucrats know what it's like to care for every waking hour, including the ones that they should be sleeping? How can a bureaucrat know? Having unpaid carers on the risk assessment team will improve overall the quality of life for all parties involved. So that's that outcome. Now, outcome number 5 is about reducing health inequalities. Unpaid carers, especially those in challenging situations, often face significant barriers to health equality. By having carers on the risk management team, we can better identify and address these inequalities, ensuring that all carers, regardless of their circumstances, receive the support they need to look after their health while caring for the health of others. Supporting carers' health and well-being directly, that's outcome number 6. It directly addresses unpaid carers, emphasizing the need to support their health and well-being. Unpaid carers on the risk management team can directly advocate for the types of support they know will make a difference, rather than what bureaucrats think might make a difference. This could include more frequent check-ins from health professionals across the mental health risk management, or greater availability for respite care. If there's not money for more respite care, then Shetland Neurodiversity Project will try to, through the third sector, apply for funds to fill that gap. But we have to work together. Unpaid carers and the Shetland Islands Council as equal parties. By doing so, we can prevent unpaid carers from suffering physical and emotional exhaustion, helping them to maintain their own health and allowing them to do their caregiving roles. And also saving the council lots and lots of money by an unpaid carer meeting that disabled person's needs rather than a paid carer. Outcome number 7 is about safety from harm. Outcome number 8, an engaged health and social care workforce. It focuses on the engagement and support of the health and social care workforce, including unpaid carers as part of the team, an equal part of the team, just an unpaid part of the team. By including unpaid carers in the risk management team, services can be designed to meet the real needs of carers for those they care for, ensuring that the resources are allocated effectively and efficiently. When unpaid carers are supported, they can save the council tens of thousands of pounds every year, each carer. When they're not supported, the person they care for has to go into residential care, and Shetland Islands Council will have to pay for their care 24 hours a day. By supporting unpaid carers so they don't break down, so they can continue to work every waking moment in care, unpaid, Shetland Islands Council can save money. Enhanced training, support, improved communication, leveraging partnerships with the third sector, such as the Shetland Neurodiversity Project, created specifically to force you to follow the CARES Act and reach towards best practice. Enhanced trainings for professionals. Number 1 objective. Ensure that social workers actually have training. They need to know the difference between a mental health problem and a neurodiversity. They need to know the social model of disability, not the medical model. It's the 21st century. Get with the program. Other frontline staff need to be equipped with up-to-date knowledge on autism, neurodiversity, and specific challenges faced by unpaid cares. You need to listen to unpaid cares. In your reports, you say we're supposed to be an equal partner, but I can't even get you to follow the law. Actions. Number 1, develop a training program. Number 2, mandatory training modules. Number 3, annual refresher courses. Number 4, incorporate lived experience of carers. Engage unpaid carers as part of the training process because we are the experts. How dare you think you know more than us about our caring responsibilities? You need to be trained by us. You need to perceive the real life insights of what it's like to not be able to have a shower because you're too busy caring for days. You need to understand what it's like to have 2 autistic children, one that stays up all night and one that stays up all day, meaning that there's 0 time, any time, where they're both asleep at the same time. I am not the only mother that goes through this in Shetland. I'm not the only mother. I'm not the only parent. I'm not the only carer who's been neglected by you and who could sue you for significant amounts of money.